Boom shakalaka. Welcome to the JQ and Pete Show, the flagship podcast of QuizaCulture. If you guys are new here, this is a podcast where we talk about music, movies, video games, Pokemon, a little bit of everything. And I'm JQ, and this is the first podcast episode of 2024. So happy New Year. It's been a long time coming. We've been doing this for a good minute now, but I feel like it's still brand new and we have so much fun stuff to learn. This is going to be an awesome year for all of us. We've been doing some cool, new, fun things. This is also the first episode that we're going to play on YouTube, on our YouTube channel, which is called QuizaCulture. Some of you guys that's been following us, we started off with the podcast JQ and Pete, and we've always had the intention to have it grow. So the YouTube channel QuizaCulture is going to have a little bit of everything. The flagship podcast, JQ and Pete Show, will always be here, where we're going to recap all our creative endeavors as well as talk about the things we like and the things we want to share, because we want to continue to build that awesome community. Then it's also an extension of our creative endeavors. One fun thing that I started to do at the end of last year, which is starting to gain some traction, and I'm so happy that people are watching and hanging out, and there's such a good positive energy surrounding it, so it's making me really happy, is Pokemon cards. Last year I decided to just chase that nostalgia that I used to have when I was a kid and start recollecting Pokemon cards. In my personal life, it's really affected me to grow and make new friends, learn how to use my camera in a unique way, and learn how to edit videos and stuff like that. And it's getting a lot of views. I'm so happy. Besides the views, it's just a really cool learning experience. The whole idea from the podcast to the Pokemon card openings is just to continue to build that community, make some new friends. We have this video out now. I have this video out now. It's a Pokemon 151, which is the collection, the original collection. So those of you that don't even follow it, you may know the original Pokemon. There's a binder that you can win. It's a binder giveaway. I'm really excited about it. It got a lot of views and a lot of people are commenting. So I plan on making the random drawings sometime at the end of February, but I'll keep you posted. So connect with us, follow us on our accounts. On particularly me, I do the Threads accounts, but you could follow our YouTube channel, because I'll be sure to make some updates on our community section. That's just the start. I'm going to continue doing that. I bought so much Pokemon cards. I have so much fun stuff to open. Also, I always talk about it. If you're a listener of the podcast, I'm a musician. I love to make music. Last summer, I had a couple friends over. We worked on some videos together for a couple of my songs. Actually, about a month ago, I made a new friend, brought him over. He played drums on one of my songs. So I'm very excited to finally release it. That's been the whole goal, 2024, release a couple songs. I always talk music, and I've worked with so many cool musicians throughout the years and made some cool friends, but I've never really released any personal music. So we're going to start slow, but start it right. Got a couple songs coming out with a couple people, a couple solo things, and it's just going to grow from there. And I hope it's kind of like a awesome tumbleweave of things where I just continually release things. Right now, that's what QuizaCulture is. QuizaCulture is the JQ and Pete Show. QuizaCulture is JQ collects Pokemon cards. And QuizaCulture is my future music releases by me, JQ. Anything and everything is possible. That's what I've learned throughout the years. And I just remember first starting this podcast with Pete, me, an avid podcast listener, something I've been doing for so long. I always wanted to do. I never thought I'd have one that people listen to. Shout out to all the new subscribers too for the JQ Collects on QuizaCulture YouTube channel, as well as the people that are still continuing to listen to the podcast. We get a lot of new listeners. I see your comments. I see all the views. It's really cool. And I'm not saying that I have like 1 million views. I'm not saying that. I'm just excited with every view. It's some topics that you may not even be interested in. I could see the metrics. I'll see only 5 people listen to this, but I see that 100 people listen to this thing, and it just makes me happy that people are into everything. And that's what it is. Eventually, that's what it is. It is QuizaCulture. It's everything that involves me, JQ, Joshua Kiza, all the things I like. And I want to share it. And I think it's important to share because I want to be part of that positive conversation. But I also know that you're going to like it and you might get something new. That's the whole thing. You might learn something new. You might find some new music. Maybe you'll like mine. Maybe you'll like the things I talk about. But that's the whole gist. I'll come up with a better description in the future because I'm just kind of winging it now. I just had to record this, but I'm happy to be here. And I wanna keep the ball rolling. So this episode is kind of a music roundup, movies too, but a music roundup, all the things that I've been listening to. It's been a great couple months for punk rock for me. You guys know I'm a hardcore punk pop fan. I did a whole episode on the last episode that we had, which was Blink-182's comeback album, One More Time. So give that a listen because I'm so passionate about that band. So I was very happy to share my thoughts on that. But it only gets better. I could not wait. I pre-ordered it. Green Day is back with an album called Saviors. And it's amazing. Maybe I'll do a deep dive, but I'm going to do some instant reactions, some thoughts. I've been listening to that album front and back ever since it came out. And I've been loving it. There's this new sense of energy for rock music. Blink-182 was number 1 on its debut week. I think Green Day is like number 2. Number 4 in the Billboard charts, debuted at number 2. It's just amazing for rock music. Now, I love all the other genres, but when my favorite bands that I grew up listening to comes out with new music, I have to talk about it. And Green Day Saviors does not let me down. It won't let you down. It is so much energy. They have a tour. I am definitely going to. It's a stadium tour with Smashing Pumpkins, Rancid, and the Linda Lindas, which is I recently discovered those girls, and they're amazing, like fast punk music too. But it's kind of like a bucket list for me because I've always wanted to see Rancid. They're in my top 10 favorite punk bands. So, and I know Green Day and Rancid, they came up together. And it's really cool to see them do a tour together. And it's also going to be in some stadiums. Classic Green Day. So I think in the month of July, it's going to be Blink-182. I'm definitely going. And it's crazy to see that they booked a stadium. I think I'm going to see them MetLife here in New York. And then the next month in August is Green Day with Smashing Pumpkins and Rancid. It's a dream come true for me. So I have to go. I haven't bought the tickets yet, but I will. I could get the bleeder seats, but I've been to stadium shows. Bleeder seats are truly bleeder seats there. Now it's my favorite band, so I'm going to have an amazing time. But because it's my favorite bands, I think I'm going to go all out and try to spend some dough to get a little bit closer. But back to the Green Day's album, Saviors. I'll talk about, it was kind of like a resurgence for them, and it's the 30th anniversary of their breakthrough album, Dookie, which is obviously a game changer. Everyone knows that. And if you don't listen to it, it's going to blow your mind. It's like 30 minutes of fast, catchy punk music. And it made it it kind of brought that genre to the mainstream airwaves. And it's the 20th anniversary of American Idiot, which is an album that hit me hard. It's my favorite Green Day album. It's actually I saw Green Day. It was at Giants Stadium. And my mom took me. And we reference it all the time because every time I'll play Green Day, she'll be like, hey, I took you to them. I took you to see them. And it's like, I know. It was amazing. And I realized that you could play punk music and you could be an amazing showman. Watch one of their concerts. I mean, they had a live album come out called Bullet in a Bible. And it was for that same tour. And the showmanship and the amount of musicianship involved, they're only getting better. And this album is kind of, from the reviews, it's a culmination of all that. It's they call it like a mix between the two, all the things they've learned throughout the years, and it gets put into this. Now, they've had great albums before then, but there's obviously a new sense of energy with this one, not with just the promotion and the amazing interviews that they gave. I mean, Billy Joe Armstrong, the lead singer, did an interview with Mark Maron. My favorite podcaster with my favorite musician. And there's some enlightening stuff. I know so much about them that I knew the things that he was going to share, but it was just nice to see him in that kind of landscape where it's just him and an interviewer talking. And they revealed a lot in this promo process, and you could tell they just kind of put their heart and soul. I think they filmed part of it in London, so there's this new energy with that album. And it's worth a listen, but I'm going to give you some tracks to go by to start. I mean, it's the second track on the album. It's called Look Ma No Brains. If you heard that, you're going to know that's classic Green Day. It's fast. It's 2 minutes long. It's a simple song about like a punk rock type of person that doesn't care about authority. That's what's unique about the song. to me at least, it's rather than telling a story, which they're amazing storytellers. Listen to American Idiot. There's a whole Broadway play based off that. It's really talking about, it's coming from the perspective of the person, and just saying it's more about moments, and it's about the energy of the song. So you get the type of person based off the energy, the speed of the song, the punchlines that he's screaming. So it's just like fast, fun punk rock, kind of reflective of earlier Green Day stuff, but there's a new sense of rock and roll musicianship to the way they play and the way he sings that I love. Maybe like Green Day purists may not like that, but I mean, I love their new stuff too. So where they kind of became a rock and roll band, not just a punk band. They are songwriters first. I think Billy Joe Armstrong said that. I'm a songwriter first before anything, before being a punk rock. And you could feel the chord progressions. He knows what he's doing, and that's what the challenge with this album is. Can they look back and push forward at the same time? Can they take the stuff that they helped build, play the same chords, but have it with a new energy? And that's what this song is about to me. It's not about some really thoughtful lyrics or anything, although it is. It's more about, can we still have that newfound energy at age 45, 50, or whatever age they are now? And to me, they got it going. So I mean, it even played like a Taco Bell commercial, which is hilarious. But it's just I still go back to that song. I woke up this morning and listened to that song. Another highlight track that I want to talk about is a song called Suzie Chapstick. It's towards the second half of the album, and it's, to me, the punchline is hopeless longing. Of course, it's something I love. I grew up listening to bands like these bands like The Cure. Even though that's before my time, they're still my top 5 favorite bands. A lot of songs that are just reflecting on past relationships and things like that. And that's what this is. It's reflecting on better times, the verses, questioning the decisions they made throughout the relationships. The melodies was crawling, and with the verses, so beautiful. But once it gets up to the chorus, it's these amazing harmonies, reminiscent of 70s Americana or psychedelic rock. You could hear, once you hear it, you'll know. Some Blue Oyster Cult type stuff, but it's so perfectly done. I've been learning a little bit more about guitars because I started collecting more guitars, and I learned about the tones of my favorite punk bands and stuff. And you could just hear the shimmering of his guitars there in that song, and it I don't know, it made me happy that I could note those kind of things nowadays, because I didn't used to have that. So in every kind of song, whether it's just the lyrics or the melody, you can search for something new within it. And for that song, it was the harmonies and the shimmering guitars. And it's such a catchy song. I was listening to it over the weekend. I think I was grocery shopping with my mom, and we just kept humming the song over and over. And there's a bridge where it's just kind of like a sha-la-la moment kind of thing. And we were walking around the grocery store singing along to that part of the song. The end of the song was a little guitar solo, which newer Green Day albums start to have. They have better chops, better musicianship, they rock and roll. And weird reference, and maybe it's not, maybe it is, but he did an interview, I think maybe it was the Mark Maron one. I watched so many of them. But he was talking about how his guitar chops aren't that good, and his son is so much better than him. And he's like, my son plays or can play guitar licks from more complex bands like the Strokes and things like that. Especially late Strokes, it's definitely more complex. And I love the guitar tones from that band. I can hear some references from that band, from the Strokes. Listen to the guitar solos with the heavy feedback, close mic guitars. I could hear that, but it's super catchy and it's super simple, Green Day style. So tapping into other kind of bands that you wouldn't think, it's a really cool thing. And maybe it's a nod to his son, and I love that even more. The last thing I'm going to talk about on this album is called One-Eyed Bastard. It is heavy rock and roll riffs with a sense of punk rock with an energy of punk rock. It's, to me, it's reminiscent of the American Idiot era, and maybe that's why I love it. You know, the tone on the guitars, the drums are so big, really catchy too. It reminds me of a song called Holiday, which was a single off the American Idiot album. What's unique about Holiday, it was a politically driven song. That's the first album where Green Day took part in that, where they started to make politically driven songs. Holiday was very specific, with specific lyrics. What makes One-Eyed Bastard, although it's like similar, reminiscent sonically, the lyrics are more about like it's like mob lyrics. There's lines like making you an offer you cannot deny. It's not specific, even though Green Day is known for writing politically driven songs, but you can guess where that's coming from. The general sense of the song is just like a power-hungry people, which you can point out certain politicians or people of power. So there's lines in the song like kiss the ring and get on your knees, and the chorus is bada bang, bada boom. And those are lines from literally mobster movies and things like that. So without having any specific energy, it becomes a metaphor for whatever you want it to be. But knowing Green Day, you can kind of guess. And that's a real spirit of a song, you know? It was funny because people were saying, like, maybe one negative thing I heard about that song. It's just like, what a throwaway chorus with the bada bing, bada boom. I don't think it's throwaway. I think it's extremely catchy, and it gets the point across. It's rock and roll, man. Sometimes you can be extremely poetic in a song like Suzie Chapstick, hopelessly longing for a love that you lost. But sometimes you can literally write about power-hungry people using lines like bada bing, bada boom, but having a badass guitar lick. That kind of sums it up. I'll give you a couple samples. There's so many other songs on that album, and I really love it. It really reminded me why I love rock music. Something about hearing guitars in songs. Now, you've heard my past episodes. I love pop music, hip-hop, everything, and I've only scratched the surface of what I'm sharing, and I hope to share more. But I will tell you this, something about guitars, hearing it, of course, punk rock guitars, but let's just say guitars in general, I could feel it. I could really feel it. So I was flipping back and forth to certain hip-hop stuff because I always wanted to discover something new, and I just couldn't, man. I just couldn't. I just kept listening to Green Day stuff. I needed that energy, that guitar, the analog stuff, the drum kits. And I love the other genres, but there's a special place in my heart for rock and roll. So listen to that Green Day song because that's what it made me feel. You know, it actually just made me feel again. It reminded me why I love music so much. Just like how the Blink-182 album reminded me what got me into music. And it just expanded from there. I remember I was self-taught on guitar, but I did want to learn professionally. So I took a couple classes, and he's like, what kind of music do you like? I was like, I like punk pop. He's like, well, you like Green Day? And Green Day is like an all-encompassing thing. Something like Blink-182, they're not cool. They're like a poppier version, right? But Green Day hit everybody. Rock and rollers love them, but people that love pop music love them because they hit the mainstream and they influenced the culture. So I remember I was like, I like punk music. He's like, you like Green Day? And he taught me a song. I think it was called Brain Stew. And it's like 4 chords. And I felt like the man when I learned that song. And that's what's cool about punk music too. It can be super simple. It can get the point across. It can be super complex, like bands like Fugazi and things like that. But it can also be super simple, like Green Day's Brain Stew. But man, listen to this album. It was a great one. You'll love it. Maybe I'll do a deep dive on that in the future. I've already spoken enough about it. I got a couple more rock songs that I wanted to recommend to you guys. Alkaline Trio, they came out with a new album, which literally weeks later, whether a week or two later, called Blood, Hair, and Eyeballs. It's great. I only recently discovered. They've always been in the punk rock zeitgeist of stuff that I've been listening to here and there because I'll listen to their older songs. Like, oh, I know that one. More recently became into limelight for me because the lead singer, Matt Skiba, joined Blink-182 when Tom DeLonge, the other founder and lead singer of the band, left. And hardcore Blink fans, that shook them up. Some people love them, some people hated it. I loved it because they just kept the Blink-182 name going. And they came out with 2 great albums together. Super unique and different music, kind of music for Blink. It must have been so unique for him that he's such a different kind of songwriter. So to force himself to make a certain style of music must have been a unique and fun challenge. And everyone's been saying it, and I'll say it too. The way Tom DeLonge came back to the band, and that's a beautiful thing. Came out with the album one more time, and he gracefully exited and only said positive things. And we just love him, and I'm lucky enough to have discovered his music from his baby, which his band, Alkaline Trio. So I'm kind of going through the discography because I love the way he writes his melodies, and his guitar tone is so different to me. So I was like, oh my God, a new album? Of course I'm listening to it. And to top it off, their drummer left the band recently because he's been part of the band for years, and I think he left because touring life is hard. And they replaced the drummer with an amazing drummer named Adam Willard. Those of you who don't know, Adam Willard is another Godfather type punk rock drummer. Played with many bands, Rocket from the Crypt, The Offspring, more recently Against Me. But I discovered him through Angels and Airwaves. When Tom DeLonge of Blink-182 left the band back in 2003, 2004 time, he started a new band where he wanted to make like stadium rock, which was one of my favorite first albums, man. We Don't Need to Whisper. And he recruited kind of like a super group of musicians, and one of them was the drummer Adam Willard. And I love the guy. He's not in the limelight. He doesn't do interviews that much, but he did recently do an interview on YouTube. And I'll put the link for that because he was so honest and open. He's such a chill guy. I followed him throughout the years because Angels and Airwaves, before like Instagram going live and TikTok and stuff, like they had their own media platform, and he would always come on and talk to the fans and things like that. He's just a cool guy, but his drumming on particularly the first Angels and Airwaves album was so big. He was famous in the bands like Rocket from the Crypt for they had to like bolt his drums down because he hit it so hard. And then there's a clip on a making of the album. It was a documentary that came out, making of that Angels and Airwaves album, where they were working on this heavy rock song called The War. And they were inside the Foo Fighters' famous studio, which is kind of like a hangar. So the drums were echoing throughout this hangar, this like airplane hangar kind of thing. And the way he was playing, I always think of that scene. And I just kind of go back every once in a while. Every year or so, a couple of years, I'll like go back to watching that footage because it was so inspiring to see the band like meld this idea together and be collaborative. I learned a lot. I love watching music documentaries, and I always go back to that, and particularly watching Adam Willard play. He became one of my favorite drummers from then on. But he joined Alkaline Trio, and they're going to be on tour together. They came out with cool music videos with them for actually this particular song, Blood, Hair, and Eyeballs. It was so catchy. It's such a catchy song. And it's so fun to see Adam Willard in this music video where they got like, they're like in a skate park and everyone's turning into zombies, kind of like a Thriller reference. It was a really fun music video. I'll put a link to that one, but I didn't think I'd like the song as much as I do. I don't know why. I think because I was listening to other stuff. I think I was listening to the Green Day album over and over at the time. So sometimes I have a hard time like getting out of that zone, ready to listen to new music. But this one song just kept creeping through the airwaves, man. I just kept playing it over and over and over. Right before I hit record on this episode, I listened to that song. It's a classic song too. I mean, maybe there's a theme I'm talking about, this happy, sad theme. But it's such a catchy music. But the song itself is kind of like this person falling into depression after the end of a relationship. It's catchy, it's morbid, it's happy, sad. I think it's everything I like. Check, check, and check. You know. So those are the music roundup. I have so much more. I'm gonna do more episodes on this. But listen to the songs. Tell me what you think. It's rock and roll time, man. There's gonna be some great tours coming up. Some great music. I'll talk more about the other genres and things like that, and I can't wait. Olivia Rodrigo announced her Guts tour. Kid Cudi came out with a new album. So I'll have some more to recommend. Two other things that I wanted to mention. I saw a bunch of movies this podcast is also about movies. Recently, I went on a movie binge and I saw 3 movies in one day. I love those. It's so relaxing for me to just, I have that AMC subs pass and I just go to the theater and spend all day there watching movies, getting a bite to eat, watching more movies. I saw, well, first off, the first one I watched with my family on Hulu. It's called Reliance. It's directed and written by Jake Johnson. He's one of the leads in New Girl, and his sense of humor, that sarcastic, nervous energy, is all in this movie, and it was way funnier than I thought. I guess he's this guy that works in this office, kind of depressing life, yada yada. Went through a bad breakup, gets chosen for this dark web contest where he needs to survive 30 days, where there's people that's going to hunt him down. But the catch is, if he's with another person or with someone in the room with him or whatever, they can't kill him. So it's just these really funny moments. I mean, even if you just watch the trailer, he's like sharing a bed with his brother-in-law, wakes up, the brother-in-law is not there, and someone's outside ready to kill him, and he runs, and he's like, where are you? Where are you? You could hear the guy, he's like, I'm in the bathroom, and he dives into the bathroom where the guy's on the toilet, and it's just kind of a hilarious comedic thing. And Anna Kendrick is in it, and her energy, they have such great chemistry together. It's worth it watching at home. It's on Hulu, so check that out. The ones I saw in theater was a movie called Miller's Girl. It stars Jenna Ortega, and it's a genre movie, and it's if there's one word for it, is melodramatic. But it was a really good movie. It's more about the performances. The melodramatic meaning everything was dramatized. It's about this girl that lives kind of alone in a house. She's rich, and her parents aren't around. And she is intelligent, she's well-read, and she has her literature teacher, meets her literature teacher, who they connect, and she tries to seduce. So it's an extremely sensual movie, but her performance and their chemistry together is really what moves it. Now, there's a lot of these great shots that are in slow motion, so that's what I mean melodramatic. It's raining, and he walks in, and she's in this beautiful flowy dress, or they just share something like a cigarette together, and it's all about these moments combined, and that's what made the movie. But when it's just the two characters alone, speaking to each other and getting to know each other and pushing each other's buttons, it was a fascinating movie, and it's definitely a fun watch. Especially if you're a fan of Jenna Ortega. You may have discovered her from a bunch of other horror movies and also a Netflix show Wednesday, which kind of really put her on the limelight, which is a great TV show. I can't wait for season 2. We'll be talking about that one. But if you want to see more of her and see her in a different light, this is a good movie for it. So worth a watch, Miller's Girl. And of course I saw Mean Girls, the musical. Classic movie. I mean, I always described my high school as something like a Mean Girls thing, too, which is probably not a good thing. But I had to see the movie, and, I grew up in the original Mean Girls movie, so you just kind of know scenes. A lot of this movie was the same thing, verbatim. But once it got up to the musical part, that was so original, and I loved the songs coming out. I guess because I'm a music guy, I really connected to it, and you could see from the lead actors and things like that why they were chosen. You would think, because we're so connected to the main actors from the original movie, like Lindsay Lohan and stuff, you'd think that it'd be hard to see someone else in those roles. Maybe it is, but what I was seeing is how that's why these people were chosen. They were so special that they can break through that. So the music was great. The story was fun. Worth a fun watch. A lot of cool other movies coming out. I mean, I already got my tickets to see Dune in IMAX. I'm pumped about that. Shout out my buddy Josue. We've been talking about that movie for months because it was supposed to come out late last year, and it's finally here. So come on, Timothée Chalamet, Zendaya. So let's do it. As for video game updates, because I haven't updated much on video games all end of last year. Ever since Cyberpunk Phantom Liberty came out, I replayed Cyberpunk, and that's a big deal for me. Cyberpunk 2077. If you don't know it, Keanu Reeves is in it, and in Phantom Liberty, Idris Elba is in it. It's a big budget movie. There's a whole episode where I talk about it with Pete, how much I love it and love the anime that came along with it. But it's a big deal for me to replay video games because I never do. Gamers do it all the time. It was kind of funny because I replayed in Usually you replay it to maybe do a different character build kind of thing. And I find myself doing the same exact thing in the beginning. I remember my stepdaddy's laughing. I was like, really? You're literally going to do the same thing? And I was like, yeah. And I really enjoyed it because there was like big updates in the game. That's what made me want to play it besides playing the new DLC, Phantom Liberty. I changed it up. And those of you who know the game, I became like a Netrunner samurai. And the samurai part was the new thing. And it's so fun. I played, I think, like 70 hours already. I didn't even start the first mission. I beat all the side missions, every single side mission, actually. So I was like, you know what? Let me beat all of this level all the way up, beat everything before I even continue the story. Now I'm playing on and off now because all I have to do is like the little cop missions, which are not really like side missions, just kind of like mini things that you do. But there's a lot of them. So it's kind of a game that it's the first time in a long time that I would play on and off. And I'm going to continue doing that. And I'll share my experience with it. And once I get up to Phantom Liberty, you know I'm going to be talking about that. Gosh, I can't believe it. But yeah, it's becoming one of my favorite games of all time that I've ever played. Also, I'm playing because I have long bus ride commutes to and from work. So I've been playing my Switch a lot. I also got a Game Boy emulator because I do want to play the original Pokemons. But I've been traveling with my Switch. I've been playing the Super Mario RPG, which is a remake of the original one back in the day. So it got such high praise. It's like, let me try it out. It seems like it's a simple game. The beginning was so simple. I almost got bored. It's so quirky. If you read about it, I'll put a link to a couple of reviews. It's such a quirky thing, and sometimes you can't believe that this kind of game was made. The game became interesting because eventually Princess Peach joins you and Bowser joins you. So like it's cool. You get to play as them in your squad. And the story is simple and interesting, but it's such a chill game to play. After that, I bought the new Prince of Persia game. So I'll be playing that as soon as I finish Mario RPG. I think I'm about 3/4 of the way done. The Prince of Persia game, I got it for Switch. I had to. Got great reviews. It looks so fun. So I'll be sharing my experience with that. But those are my video game updates, my movie updates. That's it. That's it for this episode. I'm so happy to be here. This has been an amazing journey. It's been so fun connecting with people. I want to stay consistent with this. JQ and Pete Show. It's a flagship podcast of QuizaCulture, the QuizaCulture channel. So this is the first episode, first of many episodes. You can still find us on Apple Music, Amazon Music, Spotify, but you can now find us on YouTube. Follow the QuizaCulture channel. Follow this page. I'll put the right links for you. Give it a like so it gets out there. Comment and tell me if you listen to the songs that I recommend. Tell me how much you like Green Day, friends and family as well. We've all have different stories of me. I'm singing Green Day songs to you and things like that. So they've always been in my life. And I'll share some more because I might be doing a couple little acoustic gigs coming up. And Green Day is going to be on that set list. So it's been such a blast. This was supposed to be a 10-minute episode, and it always ends up getting longer because I really enjoy doing this. Check out the Pokemon episode, JQ Collects. Check out this latest episode, JQ and Pete Show. Subscribe for more. Thank you so much for being here. There's so much more to come. I cannot wait to share my new music. Peace. Thank you, guys.